So, if you saw the title of my talk this morning, My Dogs as Teachers, you might have thought that was tongue in cheek. Normally, when we talk about teachers, we think of, gurus or monks or whatever on the spiritual path. Wise sages come to mind, but some of my most profound teachers have been of the four-legged variety, the dogs that have shared my life's journey. And those of you that have been around a while know that I'm a complete dog person. I can't imagine life without them. I've had cats too and loved each one of them, but at the end of the day, I'm a diehard dog person. I got my first dog, a beagle puppy, when I was 6 years old. I've never been without dogs in my life since, and that's a long time. I remember my father brought him home, surprised me with him, and he was just a lifesaver for me and my crazy family for as long as he was around. And then I've had other ones since then. But that first beagle puppy was with me constantly. He slept with me, he comforted me in my loneliness. He was just amazing. And dogs have been companions in my life through lots of ups and downs. And I currently have, as many of you know, two female golden retrievers, both of rescues from puppy mills. Um, come here, girl. Come here, girl. This first one is Kaya. No, not you. Come here. The older one, she's 10. That's Kaya. And then that means forgiveness in Japanese, which was the name I gave her when I rescued her 6 years ago from an awful puppy mill situation. She's now 10, and I thought the name was fitting given what she had been through in the first 4 years of her life. And then Kima, the young one, come here, Kiki, is we've had her 3 years, and that's the name of the first bhikkhuni or nun that the Buddha ordained, and I thought that was an appropriate name. And she was really from a terrible situation, had lived her first 4 years in a small cage. When I got her, she weighed 40 pounds, should weigh 60. All her hair fallen out. She'd been bred constantly. She was in terrible shape. Well, she's 8 now, and while she still has a fair amount of PTSD, she's turned into just the sweetest dog ever. And you'll often see her. She's usually the one in here. She usually sleeps through our meetings. She also is the one you'll hear digging when I ring the bell sometime for meditation. Not sure why she does that. But anyway, those are my girls currently. So back to dogs as teachers. And dogs with their innate wisdom are able to impart valuable lessons that resonate deeply with core Buddhist principles if we let them, if we pay attention. As you know, one of the central tenets of the Buddhist teaching is the importance of living in the present moment. We humans so often get caught up in ruminating about the past, worrying about the future, and by doing that, we miss the precious gift of the here and now. Dogs, if you have them and you know this, in contrast, are masters of present moment awareness. Um, they're keen to move forward into a state of joy while we humans often resist it. Whether that's joyfully chasing a ball, chasing a squirrel, napping in the sun, offering a loving lick, they're fully absorbed in each passing moment. And they're such wonderful role models for that. And speaking of joy, the exuberance and total joy that they experience should be a model for all of us, especially when they're reunited with us after we've been gone for a while or away from the house. They couldn't be more excited. So watching them, and I spend a lot of time with them, I'm regularly reminded to embrace life's simple pleasures while trying to let go of all these preoccupations and stories that only cause suffering. It's not that my dogs don't experience suffering, they do, but unlike me, they don't cling to it, they don't dwell on it, they don't go back and revisit it. Once that dreaded thunderstorm has passed, they're back to the present moment. They can be just frantic with the thunder, and then 5 minutes after it ends, they're just back to being dogs. They exist so fully in the moment. They don't stick to things that have passed. and they don't sit around dreading the next thunderstorm. When it happens, and they deal with it, but they're not sitting around worrying about it. This path emphasizes the value of a loving, compassionate heart. Metta, the practice of unconditional love and goodwill, is considered an essential virtue. Well, I would argue that dogs are the quintessential metta practitioners. They greet everyone with love, with a wagging tail and an open heart. They just can't get enough of that. And no matter how many times someone may scold them or ignore them, they're always ready to offer their affection again. They are incredibly loyal. Not that I scold or ignore mine. I don't want to be clear about that. I actually spoil them a great deal. But observing my dog's boundless capacity for love, and that's really one of the great joys of owning a dog. It inspires me to set an intention to nurture a loving, forgiving, open heart with others. So those are some of the lessons that they can teach us. Another key part of our practice is the reality of impermanence. Everything in this world, from physical forms to mental states, is constantly changing, as you know. But by learning to let go and accept this truth, we can release the clinging that always leads to dissatisfaction and suffering. And over the years, I've watched my dogs, these and ones prior, gracefully navigate the tides of change, from exuberant youth to creaky old age. And they do it with an equanimity that I can only hope to emulate. In their easy come, easy go attitude, their ability to enjoy whatever life presents, they model for us a wise response to the fleeting nature of existence. I often say it's almost like our dogs know instinctively that life is short for them. That if there's a purpose to it, it is to shake off all the nonsense, wag your tail, feel good, and do your best to make everyone around you feel good too. I mean, what a lesson that is. And the painful fact, and this is the worst part of having them, is that they don't live long lives. But it's an in our face reminder of impermanence. Every time I lose one, I think, I can't do this again. This is too painful. And then within a couple of months, I think, oh my gosh, life without dogs is not okay. I need another one. So I just do it again. But it's just that recurring reminder of impermanence that's inescapable. And it's true with our cats too. I don't want to not suggest that. But my dogs seem to know instinctively that there's so much in this world to be happy about if you're only willing to experience, if you're only willing to embrace it and open to it. Whether that's the sun shining, the presence of a good friend, whether that's food in your belly, cool water to drink, a squirrel to chase, a lake to swim in. It's just amazing to watch them embrace life with such joy and openness. And it's just, as I say, they're just a constant teacher for me. It is a blessed life we lead, but there is something in us that makes us too often reticent to recognize it. We're so busy with worries and concerns and past regrets and future concerns. That's not them. Dogs don't have this problem. And perhaps most importantly, my dogs have been spiritual friends on this path for me. They embody the Buddha's advice to choose wise companions. They are always there, they're always welcoming and loving, non judging. Through their quiet, steady presence, they create in our lives a safe space just to be, you know, just to let go of all those human struggles and aspirations. And when I'm with them and fully present, it's just a wonderful source of joy in my life. As I navigate the twists and turns of this Buddhist journey, their patient encouragement is always there. They're always there to remind me to stick with the teachings, to set an intention, to come back to the present moment. I spend a lot of time just sitting quietly with them, hanging out with them. And it really has become a form of meditation for me. And, when I mess up, when I stumble, they're there to remind me that freedom is not some distant goal, but a joyful living connection always available right now in this moment. So, in the end, I am deeply grateful for the many invaluable teachings that my dogs have shared. Every day, they wake me up in the morning. It just starts my day joyfully. When they jump on the bed and say it's time for breakfast, I don't even need an alarm clock. And yes, they can't recite suttas and they can't expound on emptiness or impermanence, but nonetheless, I deem them as authentic Dharma practitioners because by following their example of being present, loving without conditions, accepting change and impermanence, and serving as true spiritual friends, I know they help me walk the Buddhist path well. So that is dogs as my teachers.